Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson, you're watching Reality Survival. So today what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little project with the welder. And the point of this video is not so much to teach exactly how to use a welder and all that kind of stuff. The setup I have right now is not the best for that. However, we'll show you the basics of the stuff. But the main point here is that if you don't know how to weld, you should probably learn. And the reason I say that is because welding is a really good skill. It's a very useful skill to have around homestead. It is great for repairing things, for fixing things, for making stuff work for you in a better way. That's pretty much what I'm doing here today. I got this little Brindley 10 cubic foot trailer. I got it for 60 bucks off of Facebook Marketplace. I think they normally run, I don't know, some similar ones up at Tractor Supply run about $250 to $300. So I got a pretty good deal on it. It's pretty much just like new. And then I went and purchased a 2-inch ball hitch to put on the end of it, or I guess it's not the ball part, but the part that sits over the ball, the receiver part. And so I'm going to put that on there. I'm just going to weld it on there because it makes it easier for me to use between my four-wheeler, my tractor, whatever the case may be. And so we're just going to weld this on real quick. No big deal. Now you might be thinking to yourself, man, I'd love to weld, but it's really expensive to get into. And that's actually not true either. The setup that I have down here, I'll show it to you here in just a second, is a little Chicago Electric piece of junk little welder. Right? It's not a welder that's designed to be used for heavy duty everyday use. But it's really good for folks who just want to have something around to be able to weld different things like I'm doing now. Just little projects where you may have a few minutes of welding to do, and that's about it, And you can weld all the way up to about a 1/4 inch thickness with this welder. And you know what? It only costs like $100, maybe 110. I don't know. I got my whole setup it was brand new and hadn't been used hardly at all. And I got an auto tinting helmet and a set of gloves and the whole welder and an extra spool of wire for $100. Again, off of Facebook Marketplace. So I do a lot of stuff there. I like to get a lot of stuff there. I think you can get really good deals. But anyway, with that, we'll go ahead and get going. Like I said, I highly encourage everybody to look into at least learning how to weld on a very basic level. With that, we'll go ahead and get into this project. Okay, so here is the little welder I have. Like I said, it's just a little Chicago Electric 120 volt, plugs into the wall, 60 hertz, 20 amps. You've got your max min switch here. Pretty much anything I'm going to weld that's significant, I'm going to put it on max. On off switch, and you've got your wire speed, your ground wire, and then your power cord. And this here is the welding gun, and just a little wire welder. So we'll get started here in a second. With this, what you're looking for is just kind of a good smooth crackle when you're welding. Okay, so what I have set up here is I've just got this little hitch right here, the 2-inch hitch that I'm putting on. I have gone ahead and grinded off the powder coat on the end of this, and I've done that on both sides. And then I'm just going to run a bead right down this, and then the same thing on the other side. It's pretty basic stuff, and as you'll see, I think it's going to work out fine. It's not going to be any big deal. You don't want to breathe in the gases too much. You want to make sure that you've got a good ground. This is the grounding cable. Got that grounded right there, and that's how it's going to keep from shocking you if you touch the metal or anything like that while you're welding. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of set the camera in a way that it's not exactly watching the weld when I'm doing this, because I don't want it to damage the sensor on the camera. But you will get the idea here, hopefully. Oh, kicked the breaker, I guess. That sucks. Okay, so we got the breaker tripped back on. I had my heater on at the same time, and that's going to be too much, and it just popped the circuit there. So let's give it another try. We are plugged into a 20 amp socket or receptacle, so it should work fine. We'll see. All right, let me just block this out just a little bit here. Oh, it's gonna turn on. All right, here we go. Helmet's fogging up a little. Gonna do left-handed. I'm going to tack it a little bit on this side, just so it doesn't start to tweak it. Just tack it in each corner here. Sometimes with these, this is a flux core, so it has the flux in the wire, and well, with any of them really, it'll get the tip kind of clogged up. You want to clog that out, or kind of clear that out every once in a while. An issue with the feeding of the wire. Alright, so what I did just real quick there is just kind of loosened up the tension. It was binding up a little bit on the wire there. So let's try that again. See if that helps. Like I said, these are not the greatest welders, but they'll do the trick for some basic stuff. So I think this says when you're welding on, let's see, maximum, you only want to go for like 2 or 3 minutes and then give it a break for a few minutes, you know, let it cycle like that. So we're going to give it a break here real quick and then we'll finish up the other side. Not my best looking weld, but I'm going to grind it up a little bit. Just look at the edges, make sure it's got good penetration, because I think right here I'm lacking a little bit, so I may need to re-weld that center section. So let's check it out. All right, got my gloves and my safety glasses, so should be good to go. All right, just gonna grind this out. Okay, so we got that side welded up as well. Again, not my best job, but I think it's going to work. I think it got pretty good adhesion. I see the sides kind of rolling under again right there in the middle, and that's, you know, not the best. So I'll grind it out, take a look at it, make sure it's good to go. So another decent way to tell if you're getting good penetration on metal like this is if you can see that you're heating it through all the way to the back side, then that's a good thing, because you want to get a good bond, you know, with that metal. So you can see we got it most of the way through on that side as well. Good. All right, so now for the moment of truth, we'll see if the weld holds. I'm gonna give it a bang with the hammer here and see if looks like it's good. So that's awesome. So anyway, again, this video is not really supposed to be a video on how to weld and what to do and, you know, all that kind of stuff as far as a step-by-step. It was really more of just a primer to get you thinking about, you know, maybe learning how to weld if you don't know how to weld. These, as you probably saw during the time lapse, if the time lapse comes out right, this is a new camera, so I'm not sure if it will or not, but the feeder was giving me some trouble again, and that seems to be kind of a common thing with these cheaper welders, is you got to fiddle with the feeder and tune it and get it all just right and all that kind of stuff. There's certain kinds of wire they like better than others and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, they're not a perfect solution, okay? They probably will do 60 to 80% of items, you know, on a small homestead when you're just welding, you know, thin metals and, you know, something 1/4 inch or less. It's probably going to work fine, and you can do it out of a 20 amp 120 volt outlet, which is kind of cool. And for, like I said, about $100, 150 if you got to buy the helmet and the gloves and stuff. You can kind of get into it, do a few small projects, and if you can become proficient at welding with one of these flux core wire welders, you can weld with the top of the line Lincoln, you know, gas welders, MIG welders, and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to really weld well with those if you can do even okay with these. So I used to be a welder. I wasn't actually just a welder. I installed like dump truck bodies and high rail systems, propane conversions, and, you know, flatbeds and stuff like that on trucks when I was younger, before I joined the military, and I did a lot of welding with that job and became pretty proficient with it. But it's been it's been a lot of years. So anyway, just a good thought. This is a great skill to have. You can do a lot of stuff on your homestead with even just a cheap welder like this. And you know, I've got my little trailer that I got cheap, and it'll be able to pop it right on to the four-wheeler and tow it around, pop it over to the lawnmower, tow it around, you know, that kind of thing, and I'll be good to go. So anyway, guys, as always, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And definitely appreciate those who use the Amazon link. I'll go ahead and put a link to this down in Amazon link, or you know, an Amazon link down in the description below. Again, not the best welder in the world, but it's a great little unit to learn on for not a lot of money. And then you can see if you want to spend more money later on something, you know, higher dollar, because a good welder can run several $1,000s, and these are just cheapo kind of things that you can pick up at Harbor Freight or Amazon or wherever. I'll also put a link to the grinder and welding helmet and all that kind of stuff, just your basic, you know, welding tools and stuff, if you guys want to take a look and see what it would cost you to get into it. So anyway, guys, don't forget to live the 6 P's. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe. We'll see you on another video here real soon. So it's pretty cool, the cart. This is a Brindley 10 cubic foot. Comes with a little template that you can put dividers in here if you want. So if you've got a little bit of mulch, a little bit of topsoil or whatever, or maybe some tools in here and some mulch in the back or something. And then it also will tip back like that, you know, for dumping stuff out, stuff like that. So it's got little air-filled tires. You could probably put some slime in those if you wanted to, but anyway, it's a pretty cool little cart. I will, and now it's got the hitch on it. So I'll throw a link to that in the description below as well.